Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Now in the summer months, it's hot outside, you schwitz, and your garments become a little sweaty, and for a man, his tzitzis becomes sweaty and perhaps changes colors, and the question is, a not clean looking pair of tzitzis, is that a blemish for the mitzvah of tzitzis? So let me use a couple examples as it's brought in Shulchan Aruch or in Halacha and try to understand if it would apply by the talus too, because after all, the talus not necessarily is the mitzvah, the beged. The mitzvah is most probably the tzitzis that hang off the beged. So let's bring some examples and see how it will apply in our case. The Gemara says in Sukkah, lulav yavesh pasul. If you have a lulav for Sukkahs, but it's dry, it's pasul. You can't use it for the mitzvah. Explains Rashi, why can't you use it for the mitzvah? Because of zeh keli v'amveyu. The pasuk says that you have to honor, glorify God, and having a dry lulav is not nice. So Tosfos asks a question in Rashi, and he says, Rashi, there are two parts to this mitzvah. There is the mitzvah, having dalud minin, having a lulav, and this person had a lulav. If he has a nicer lulav, of course it's better. How could you say that because of the lack of zeh keli v'amveyu, the lack of not having a beautiful lulav, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah? The concept of zeh keli v'amveyu is only lechatchila. But b'di eved, at least he had a lulav. And what's answered is like this. When you're talking about a nicer lulav or not such a nice lulav, fine. Then you're right. Tosfos is correct. At least you had a lulav. When you're dealing with a yavesh, a dry lulav which is ma'us, which is disgusting, then I'm sorry, it's not a second part, a second issue. It's actually the issue of the lulav. You didn't have a proper lulav. And the Rivash writes, for that same reason of zeh keli v'amveyu, many other types of lulav and esrog, even though you might think is a extension to the halacha, no, it becomes part of the original halacha. So let's go now what Chazal tell us to this pasuk, on this pasuk of zeh keli v'amveyu. The pasuk says zeh keli v'amveyu, so the Gemara in Shabbos says, how do you make beautiful mitzvahs? Keli, Sefer Torah, Noah. Make sure to have, when you're writing a Sefer Torah, it should be a beautiful one. Lulav, Noah. Talis, Noah. That you should have a nice talis. So now the question is, the talis is only a beged. The talis is only a beged. The mitzvah of tzitzis seems to be, is the chutim, the strings coming down. So why would a nice talis also apply on zeh keli v'amveyu, which is really an extension? It's not really part of the mitzvah. So perhaps you use that same svara that Tosfos says. I understand, even if you're going to split the issue, which not everybody agrees with, that the talus is not part of the mitzvah. The talus it's not the package deal that the talus and the chutim make up the mitzvah. Even so, it cannot be ma'us. When something is disgusting, filthy, you lost out on the mitzvah. So uvachein, something that you should be very careful is try to make sure that at least even the beged, the talus. Now some say that the talus gadol, which you wear outside on top of and everybody could see, that has to be clean. That has to be crisp white. But the talus cotton, which is under your shirt, perhaps you could be easy. But that's not true, because even though people can't see, if it's mos, you're showing disrespect for the mitzvah. So please, let's make sure that this is something you're careful of to fulfill the mitzvah's behidr.